video. Oh, look, it's Saturday afternoon. Hyena would like to give some blessings since this is going to be an animal abuse video. Oh, look at Hyena blessing. Are you blessing the animal abusers? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is what she has to say about animal abusers. They can never be forgiven. Never. And I know of 3. Quit! I know of 2 bottom feeders and 1 mob guy. And I don't think they should be forgiven or forgotten. The worst of the worst, I have named Antifreeze. She told the story herself. She's told it to several people. She's never denied it. She's just changed the circumstances to suit her purpose. And lately there's been a little dust up about it. I don't think this evil, vile person should ever be forgiven. If it was a story, the person that would tell a story like this and think it was okay has something seriously wrong with them. And if it's true, then she should be banned. She should be canceled. The other one kicked a poodle, told the story herself, laughed about it, wouldn't get off the panel, kept thinking and she still thinks it's okay because I heard a clip not long ago where she threatened Jen Bailey to kick her dog. So this woman has learned nothing, thinks that kicking a poodle around after being in a crate for I don't know how many hours is fine. She should be ignored or canceled. The other one we all know very well is a MobTube guy. He's been cruel to animals on video. He can't deny it. He says it's not cruelty, but to me it is, and to many other people. And let me give you another little fact. You can come back from almost any sin. Any sin. Murder. Pedophilia. Drunk driving. Drug use. Embezzlement. Assault and battery. But there's one thing nobody can come back from is animal abuse, because it is a worldwide unforgivable sin. You can come back from being a racist. You can be glorified for being a racist. You can fly on the Epstein jet to Epstein Island, big shots, all forgiven, and everybody knows what was going on there. But there's one thing, and this may have been a big reason why Mitt Romney is no good. He put a dog on top of his car and let it drive and drove somewhere with that dog in a crate. His wife owned dressage horses for the Equestrian Olympics. That is one of the cruelest sports in the Olympics, is a dressage. And he was bragging about it. When these animal abuse stories get out, they don't get back. You cannot justify it. You cannot come back. You can come back from being a racist, saying N or whatever the fuck you want to say. That's cool. Barely gets noticed. Get back from being a homophobe. That barely gets, but you try abusing an animal. You don't come back from that. And I've got a prisoner on here. Let me even tell you what the prisoners think of animal abusers. Next to being a child abuser, maybe even above it, they get no sympathy from anybody. They're the worst. That's how serial killers get started, by being cruel to animals. And I was watching what made me think of this more than ever is that these 2 animal abusers and the bottom feeders have been making a lot of yappity noise lately. So I gave them some new nicknames because I couldn't think of a nickname. One I'm going to call Antifreeze. And the other one I'm going to call Gap. The Gap. That's their names. Since they're very sensitive, if you mention everybody will know who exactly. And this is what prisoners think of them. An actual prisoner in an actual prison. This is what he said about animal abusers. There's no redemption from any of this. Michael Vick will never be known. He might be a football player, but his main claim to fame is that he was an absolute dog abuser. And that's what Michael Vick is synonymous with. Animal abuse. You don't come back from that, people. Just like these horse trainers, all these horses are dropping dead. They're not going to come back from that. I don't care how millionaire they are. I don't care how many derbies they've won. I don't care how many Breeders' Cup races they've won. They're not going to come back from animal abuse. And I got to find that guy. I just had him pulled up. This came from an actual prisoner out of an actual prison. And this is what he had to say about animal abuse. Don't take it from me, folks. I know I've been in the animal rescue business longer than you people have been alive. Here he is. Animal abusers, attention, listen up.
What happens to animal abusers in lockup? We really didn't see a whole lot of people for animal abuse in prison when I was there. But we did have this one guy, and he wasn't there for like hitting or stabbing or malnourishing a horse. He was there for doing mommy-daddy stuff with it. Yeah, I mean exactly what you think I mean, and you don't want to think that I mean that, but that's exactly what I mean. This dude mounted a horse, but in a completely biblical sense. So like any other sex offense, this dude got beaten on, brutalized, and tortured in a lot of different ways. He also got a cold-ass nickname. We called him the Horse Face Killer. He was on the same tier with me at OSP, and one day I was walking behind him. We were coming back from chow, and all of a sudden I see all this liquid fly out of a cell right in his face. It wasn't water. In prison, we call that piss bombing. I had also seen this dude get chin checked so hard that his jaw looked like it was going to come off its hinge. I seen him get donkey kicked down the stairs backwards. And look, criminals might be really bad people a lot of the time, but there's one thing that I've noticed that's a commonality between most criminals. They may not have that much empathy for other human beings, but they all have empathy for animals. And all real criminals hate sex offenders. So dude was down on that double-double.
There you go. They all hate animal abusers, as do the majority of the worldwide population. So, antifreeze and the Gap, you will never lose your aunt. And I heard the Gap, who I haven't listened to or heard in 2 years, running her mouth about kicking another dog. She's not ashamed of this, folks. I heard this story with my own ears. I saw her with my own eyes talk about kicking that poodle around. Well, I kicked that little MFer in the wall. It'll never piss on the floor again. Then she didn't know what happened to it. And she doesn't feel ashamed of it to this day. I've heard her say she was joking. I've heard her laugh and say, that little motherfucker will never do that again. Well, you go ahead and keep running your mouth, the Gap, because everybody knows exactly what you are. And I have videos of her putting her head on backwards, trying to act like a big thug, threatening to curb stomp people. Why don't you go stick with kicking poodles around? Because if you ever hook up with a real person, you're going to be in big trouble. Big trouble. And the other one just ran her mouth. But when people go on and keep trying to change the story, if I would have been accused of something like that, I said it never happened, and that would have been the end of it. You don't go on and on 2 or 3 years later talking about something that you did. And we all know Pizza. He tries to justify what he's done by giving it discipline or whatever he says. In my eyes and a lot of people's eyes, it's abuse. These are what prisoners think of it.
Hate sex offenders. So dude was down on that double-double, and he got fucked up every time anybody got the chance.
Let's listen to that again. Because I see that a lot of you are getting interested in prison content. Like Maria wanting to know what the teardrop. You ought to put some money in my Cash App for a prison talk. And then you could talk to a real prisoner if you have any questions. You can talk to about animal abuse. You can ask them what the teardrops stand for. Give some money to my Cash App people. I got some more money from Hand of Doom on my Cash App. And I'll be able to talk to Paul for probably 2 hours off that money. Maybe 3. And if there's another prisoner in there that he thinks can't talk to their families or something over the holidays, he'll see that they get some money for their phones.
What happens to animal abusers in lockup? We really didn't see a whole lot of people for animal abuse in prison when I was there. But we did have this one guy, and he wasn't there for like hitting or stabbing or malnourishing a horse. He was there for doing mommy-daddy stuff with it. Yeah, I mean exactly what you think I mean, and you don't want to think that I mean that, but that's exactly what I mean. This dude mounted a horse, but in a completely biblical sense. So like any other sex offense, this dude got beaten on, brutalized, and tortured in a lot of different ways. He also got a cold-ass nickname. We called him the Horse Face Killer. He was on the same tier with me at OSP, and one day I was walking behind him. We were coming back from chow, and all of a sudden I see all this liquid fly out of a cell right in his face. It wasn't water. In prison, we call that piss bombing. I had also seen this dude get chin checked so hard that his jaw looked like it was going to come off its hinge. I seen him get donkey kicked down the stairs backwards. And look, criminals might be really bad people a lot of the time, but there's one thing that I've noticed that's a commonality between most criminals. They may not have that much empathy for other human beings, but they all have empathy for animals. And all real criminals hate sex offenders. So dude was down on that double-double, and he got fucked up every time anybody got the chance.
That's right. Animal abusers never get forgiven. Probably the best trainer of all time, Bob Baffert, is practically blackballed down because it got found out that he was being mean to horses. And if you two, I'm not even going to call you women, I'm not even going to call you females, if you think this dog abuse thing is ever going to quit being hooked up with your names, you're sadly mistaken, because I, myself, have been rescuing animals longer than you've been alive. And I am never going to let my groups forget what you two have done. And the shit about pizza is on video. Every bit of it. You can see it. You can judge for yourself if you think it's discipline or not. I, for one, don't. The dog is absolutely wanting to go outside most of the time when it gets on him, and instead of just getting up, letting the dog out, he pushes it or knocks it off of him. And animals do love their abusers because they don't know any different. If they're raised with an abuser, that's what they know. Oh, and I want to ask you whose Trump hat looks the best. My Trump hat kind of matches Poolstick's. Not exactly. Here's my other one. Who has the best Trump hat? Me or Poolstick? And Poolstick, I don't know what your game plan is, because I hate your chat, almost all of them. I think you're playing a game and you're just acting like you don't know what's going on, but I think you've actually got a game plan with this open chat thing you've got. I hope you do. I hope you're not naive enough not to see through these people that you're letting in there. But if you don't, I'm telling you, you're in for a grand awakening, because I know who all of them are, especially the bottom feeders, and there's no good ones. Are you listening to me, Poolstick? There are no good ones. You say you don't want anybody that brings families in your chat. Well, you have got a major family exposure. In fact, she put my grandchildren up. The only one to ever do that. You figure it out yourself. You either have to stand by what you say, that you will not tolerate people that put families up in your chat, or what you say doesn't mean anything. Because I know several in your chat that have done just what you're against. And Muscle. I was watching my retake guy today, the one that knows you. And I've decided not to do an interview with him, because you seem to really practicing what you preach. We'll see how far that goes. But I did see something disturbing on my fish channels, who very, very seldom are you going to see any kind of cruelty. But I saw a guy that I've been watching a long time put a beautiful betta fish in a tank with some fish that were tearing it alive. I will never watch that guy again. I unsubscribed. I left a nasty comment. And I said, why did you have to go to cruelty for this? And in my horse channels, This guy called Barney Ward. He's passed now, and I'm sure none of you know him because none of you are into horses or animals like me. But he was a famous show jumper guy. I always thought he acted a little cruel, but of course they're not going to show how they act out in the ring. They're going to do it behind the scenes in the barn. So I was watching this thing on Netflix, and you need to watch it if you get a chance. It was called The Sandman. And it was about this guy that these big owners, big multi-millionaire owners, Barney Ward being one, would hire him to electrocute horses, break their legs to get the insurance. And that's who Barney Ward had in his barn. The Sandman guy. And when they caught the Sandman finally, because he was on the farm that took care of Aladar, another great racehorse probably none of you heard about. And he was on there sneaking around. They think he broke that horse's leg. They never could prove it. But they caught him, and he rolled over on everybody. And Barney Ward was one of the biggest ones he did stuff for. And this other guy that started the cellular phone business, Cellular Farms, they had hired him to off 2 or 3 of their horses to get the insurance money. So there's animal cruelty from millionaires to peasants. And it should never be forgiven or forgotten. It ought to be a stigma for life. And as long as I'm alive, the ones that I know about in these communities, I'm calling them out every chance I get. And that little tirade by the Gap just brought it all up in the nerve that she had to say, I'll get over there and kick your dog. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You better never come near me threatening to kick a dog. Ever. Have you got that? Never. My dogs are sacred. And not to mention every dog I could possibly help, I would do it. Every fish, every cat, every horse. I used to go to the auctions, me and 3 other girls, and try to buy a horse to save it from the slaughter every month. So I've done active things to help animals. And that's one thing I will not waver on. I don't waver on anything. I don't waver on calling a cop, which I've never done. And I think it's weak to say somebody had an argument. Well, if you're a woman home alone and somebody's threatening you, call the gun. No, you don't need to call the cops. I've never done it. Never will. For one thing, I can back up what I say. I don't try to act tough like I can beat them up and threaten them, all that. I'm just warning you. If you pull up on me, I am well armed. And Texas is a stand your ground if you walk on my property. Won't be no cop calling. I guarantee you. Nobody's ever went real life on me anyway, because what are they going to do? Like I've said 1,000,000 times, my shit's out there, and it'll stay out there. And Poolstick, I don't know what you're doing with your free-for-all chat, but I hope you've got an end game. I think you do. I've kind of been watching you sit back. I just think you're kind of watching the players and figuring out for yourself who's who and who you can trust and who you can't. I hope that's what's going on anyway. I hope you haven't been blindsided. I'm going to drink some Snap right now. So the new nicknames, and they're going to be permanent for me, are Antifreeze and the Gap. That's the new nicknames. And Antifreeze did off those dogs. She told it with her own mouth. Wasn't hearsay. It's from her. The other one, the Gap, I heard her tell the story. And go on and thinking it was okay and laughing about it. And everybody in the chat that day was cringing over it. Even Amber sitting up there with her was cringing. Like, why don't you shut up? Nobody thinks this is funny. She never got it, and she still doesn't get it to this day by mentioning the curb stomp people, putting her hat on backwards like a thug and screaming and yelling, and I've got the video to prove it. I never could figure out why anybody thought she was a voice of reason and all this stuff. She's the thuggiest race. She's a racist. She sat there with John Yates, said the N-word 1,700 times in one night. She never criticized him. But now she's with another little group, she's calling, well, don't come in my room hollering racist. Don't bring your race card in my room because we don't play cards here. We don't have whining women complaining about the men being mean to them. We don't do that here. Don't come in here with your little snowflake because I'm a right-wing Trump girl all the way. Stand your ground, gun-toting girl. I don't need no help to do anything I do. Just rest and believe if you come in my room. There ain't going to be no trigger warnings because I don't care if I trigger every single one of you. But there's one thing you won't have to worry about, and that's any sort of animal abuse. I will not tolerate it. No race cards in here. You'll hit the door faster than you knew what hit you. Period. I don't want any of you whining race baiters in my room trying to say shit's racist. Because if I say something racist, you're going to know it. You ain't going to have to wonder what I'm talking about. And that midget wannabe Nazi is no more of a Nazi than I am. Because I know them. I know Aryan Brotherhood people. They don't accept midgets in their midst. Period. And all you mob guys are the cop calling next to the women. All you can do is worry about calling a cop. You go do stuff, and then you worry about calling a cop. Not me. Never did it. Never had to. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that I'm 72 years old and a female and I've never felt the need to call a cop ever, even when in intensive care, ever. You know why you don't call cops when you're hooked up with 1%ers? Because it'll be the last thing you ever do. And that's the way everybody ought to feel. Because it's calling cops to go to somebody's house and shit is stupid. So, Hyena, you got anything to say? Hyena. Boogie, what are you doing so close? Come here, baby. What do you got to say about animal abusers? What do you got to say about them? There's no hope for them? No forgiveness? They'll never get rid of the stigma in their whole lives? Is that true, Hyena? You got something to say to Rolex, Carlos, and Joey Dimes? You got something to say to Tammy, Brenda, and Sylvia? How about Jen? You think Jen and Pizza make a good power couple? I think so, too. I think so, too. I think that'd be a good idea. What do you got to say about Trump 2024? Hyena? What do you got to say about Trump? You're worried? You're a little worried? I think it'll be okay. Because they're going to have to do a lot of shifting around of those ballots. And if any of you people can still justify being with Biden, walk outside. Get some damn gas. Buy some groceries. Find out how good this economy is now. Face reality, you ignorant people. Just remember this, you dog abusers and animal abusers. That's something that never gets forgiven. Ever. And it'll never be forgotten as long as I've got something to say about it. I will bring it up every day. And Minnie, Deborah Silver, I want my purse back. Or you're going to have to hear this every day too. Because you're the scum of the earth and a backstabber. And I can't wait till you start. And there's two people I still hate on here. And I posted a little thing. FBS and Mac. Everybody else I can tolerate. I don't really care about them. But I feel so grateful to have two guys, Rolex and Joey, that I can tell anything to, and it never gets repeated. It never goes anywhere but between us. It is a wonderful feeling to even have two. I haven't talked to Carlos that much, but I feel like I could trust him with anything. I have three women that I would trust with Hyena's life in mind to tell anything in the world. It'll never get repeated. And if you find even one person like that you can trust, do you know how wonderful I feel to have 6 people that I trust like that? 6. Probably been talking to Joey longer than anybody. And I feel like I can tell him anything. And it won't go one bit farther than between me and him, and the same with Rolex. I haven't talked to Carlos that much, but I feel like same with him. Poolstick, I'm still kind of trying to figure out. I don't know what his game plan is, but I know he's playing a game. I know he's sitting back and watching, figuring out something. But FPS and Mac, you're still exactly what I thought you were when I got rid of both of you. You haven't changed at all, neither one of you. And I do hope Johnny gets jammed up, but I doubt it. I don't think anything's going to happen to him, which is too bad. But, you know, anybody that would call and cry and tell me they were so upset. It wasn't over Jem. It wasn't over Jen breaking up with him. It was over Jen not answering a text. Everybody's making too much out of the screenshot is on my community tab. It's because she didn't answer a text, people. Not because she broke up with him. Because she just went, talk to the hand. A talk to the hand emoji. And he's right where he belongs with the bottom feeders. He fits in with them perfectly. So all you animal abusers, I'm not ever going to let you off the hook. I know what I heard. I heard it all. And I know what I saw with my own eyes. So it is what it is. You're going to have to live with your animal abuse, and it's never forgiven. You can say the N-word, get by with it, get welcomed back with open arms. You can be a pedophile and fly on Epstein's jet with open arms. Everybody forgives you. You can be a murderer, and everybody forgives you and buys your books and buys your paintings. And if you want to ask prisoners anything, please donate to my Cash App. It'll be in the comments. And I will use the money to talk to Paul. And if you have specific questions, like like teardrops on an inmate's face, I can ask Paul and give you the answers. Simple. Any prison questions? Any prisoners that I know during the holidays are not going to have money on their books to call home and call family? I'll take care of that too. Paul, talk to you tomorrow. I can't wait. He's sending me some more pictures too, so I'll be able to put some more pictures of him up, which will be great. So anyway, I think Hyenas, are you done, baby? You got some more to say? Well, get up here and say it. Come on. Oh, and by the way, antifreeze and whoever that woman was with you, how'd that work out with you going to Illinois? Did you make fools of yourself enough lately? Hyena said that was a joke. She said all them ROs are a joke. All that shit's a joke. That you have a legal mind and they don't even have a mind. Take it from this dog. Look in this dog's eyes. You better listen. All your gallivanting around the country is just making you look like straight up fools. Straight up fools. And don't be hollering racism every 5 seconds. Because if you ever get in front of a real racist, you ain't going to be able to talk about nothing. Poolstick, I think my hats look a little sexier than yours do. Besides, I've got a collection. I've got a whole collection of Trumpy hats. Because I've been a Trump supporter forever. But I am happy you went to that rally. And you did look mighty fine in that Trump hat. I just don't really know what you're up to, but I know you're up to something. I know you're not. You're just playing a game, and I haven't figured it out yet. So anyway, Hyena says Trump, 2024, no second chances for animal abusers, ever. No second chances. So I just want you to know, that's what prisoners think of animal abusers. Normal people think even worse. So you two females have little to no chance of ever any redemption whatsoever. Fake people that cry wolf and fake off in themselves, they get forgiven time and time again. Liars get forgiven time and time again. Cop callers, CPS callers, job callers, they all get forgiven time and time again. But animal abusers never do. Never get forgiven, not even by prisoners, by anybody. So keep that in your mind, you stupid, vile females. Keep running your mouths and try to make excuses for what you did. You can't, because I saw it and I heard it. Okay? I just wanted to get that off my chest on this Saturday evening. Because I got very upset when that guy fed that beta fish to them fish, and I've been watching him for years, but he's got to go. And Chicago, you might be interested in watching the Retic community because they're doing a special on that Samson guy. Did you think when you called me and we were doing all that talking that I was talking to you about the snake community because I wanted to find out exactly who you might know, and I did. So, keep that in mind. You're being good right now, so I don't really care. And you do play good music. But Poolstick, you're up to something. And I don't know what it is, but you're up to something. But you've got some vile people in your chat. And if you really mean what you say about you don't want anybody in your chat that goes after animals, you have got a major person in your chat that does that and has even done it to me. So keep that in your mind. Not that I'd ever tell you what to do, because apologies mean so much to you, but that bitch could never apologize to me for what she did. Never. In fact, she hasn't. She went on a live. I'm just going to tell you this in case you don't know. She went on a live last night bashing Johnny Mac's wife. Something I've never done. And if you haven't got the clip, I'll be glad to send it to you, Poolstick, because she did it last night. So even though she might have apologized, which I've never heard, she did it again last night. She was calling Tabitha all kinds of names. And as bad as I despise Johnny Mac and FBS, I've never talked bad about either one of their wives. In fact, they seem wonderful to me, the wives do. But one of your main people in your chat didn't mind doing it. Giving you a little heads up on that, Poolstick. You may need to listen. Okay, everybody, I'm getting off of here. It's a Saturday. I've got some stuff to watch. I got somebody that's coming to see me. Sharon is coming December 1st. She may be here for a while, so we should have plenty of adventures. Plenty of them. Mukbangs. Going over to Clear Lakes and visiting the meth head copper burners. We will be doing some fun things. I'm excited. Paul, can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. If they give me some Cash App money, I'll get to talk to you for a while. I've gotten Cash App from Hand to Doom. Thank you. And that money will go to talk to Paul. And if you have any prison questions, ask me and I'll ask him. I already let one prisoner tell you what animal abusers face going to prison. So, love y'all. Well, not all of you, but the ones, you know who I know. You know who I care about and who I don't. So I'm going to leave on that note. Animal abusers, beware. Ciao. The main thing. Rednecks, hillbillies, white trash, Trump 2024. Ciao. It's Saturday afternoon.